Okay, get ready for one of the weirdest collaborations you will probably ever see. We're talking about a story that smashes pop culture, national politics, and your family's finances all into one. Let's dive in. All right, just look at this. Yeah, your eyes are not deceiving you. That really is rap superstar Nicki Minaj on stage with President Donald Trump. And no, this isn't some deep fake. This was a real summit at the Treasury Department. And believe me, they're not just there for a quick picture. They are launching a huge new financial program, and it's aimed right at America's children.
So you gotta ask, right? How on earth did we get here? And way more importantly, what could this totally bizarre partnership actually mean for your kids' financial future? Is this program a real game changer, or is it something else? Let's break it all down.
Okay, to really get what's happening, let's first break down who's involved and what exactly brought them together on that stage in DC.
So Nicki Minaj is not exactly being subtle about her involvement here. At the summit, she made it perfectly clear where she stands, basically framing her appearance as defending the president, calling herself his #1 fan. This was way more than a casual shout-out. It was a full-on declaration. And look, this isn't just talk. She's putting some serious cash on the table, pledging up to $300,000 to help fund these new accounts for her fans, who she calls the Barbs. So right from the get-go, you've got this wild mix of celebrity power and a pretty big financial promise.
So, okay, celebrity hype is one thing. But what are these Trump accounts really? Let's forget the famous faces for a minute and look at the actual policy and how this whole thing is supposed to work. All right, here's the simplest way to think about it. A Trump account is a brand new type of savings account just for kids. The government kicks in some money to start it, and then that money grows over time without being taxed. Once the kid turns 18, it basically just flips into a regular retirement account.
So, how does this thing actually work? Let's get into the nitty-gritty. The government gets the ball rolling with a $1,000 deposit for every kid who qualifies. After that, families can kick in up to $5,000 a year, and their jobs can add another $2,500 tax-free. And here's the key. All that cash is locked up tight until the child is 18, just sitting in the stock market, hopefully growing year after year. Getting started is supposed to be pretty simple. When parents or guardians do their taxes, they'll just use a new IRS form, 4547. You just check a box to get the government's $1,000, and then the Treasury sends you everything you need to get the account running. And they've picked a pretty symbolic start date for contributions, July 4th, 2026. So why all the buzz? Well, the entire idea behind these accounts relies on one of the most powerful forces in all of finance, compounding interest. Let's see what that could actually look like over the long haul.
Okay, check out this chart from the Council of Economic Advisors. It really shows you the kind of power we're talking about here. I mean, look at the different possibilities. Even if you only use the government starter money and the market does okay, it still grows. But if a family is able to max it out every year, well, that account could be worth over $300,000 by the time their kid is 18. That's a lot.
And get this, even if a family never puts in another dime, that single $1,000 deposit from the government could turn into more than $18,000 by the time that kid is 28, just from average market growth. That is a serious head start in life.
So what's the absolute pie-in-the-sky best-case scenario? Well, the White House says that if a family maxes out their contributions every single year and the market just goes on a crazy bull run, that account could be worth almost $2 million by age 28. It sounds nuts, but it shows you the incredible potential of starting to invest early. And you know, this isn't just a government thing. It's got huge backing from the private sector. We're talking billions pledged from philanthropists like Michael and Susan Dell. And just look at this roster of heavy hitters from Wall Street and tech. BlackRock, JP Morgan, SoFi. They're all in, not just with verbal support, but offering to match employee contributions. For them, it's a massive new pipeline of money to manage, locking in a whole new generation of investors.
But of course, a plan this huge, this out there, has kicked off a massive debate. Not everyone is sold that this is the right move for American families.
So the administration's pitch, coming from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, is pretty straightforward. They're framing it as a simple way to create a rainy day fund for the next generation, helping them build some wealth and handle emergencies.
But on the flip side, you've got the main criticism, summed up here by Representative Ayanna Pressley.
The argument is that since wealthy families can easily afford to drop $5,000 a year into these accounts, while lower-income families might struggle to contribute anything, the program could actually make the wealth gap even bigger, not smaller.
And then you have guys like personal finance expert Dave Ramsey, who are, well, let's just say they're not impressed. He's calling it a political stunt and argues that it's nowhere near as game-changing as things we already have, like the Roth IRA or a 529 college savings plan. So let's actually put them side by side. This table really breaks it down. With a Trump account, you pay taxes on the money when you take it out, like a normal IRA. But with a 529, if you use it for education, it's completely tax-free. The yearly contribution cap is also way smaller for Trump accounts, and you can't switch the account to another one of your kids, which is a big feature of 529s.
All right, so we've seen the wild celebrity launch, we've gone through the nuts and bolts, and we've heard the big debate. What does this all mean for you and your family?
You know, it really boils down to this. The upside? This could teach a whole generation about investing, it gives every kid a free $1,000 start, and it pushes a really sound long-term strategy. The downside? Well, there are very real worries it could make inequality worse, it's definitely not as flexible as a 529 for school, and the tax break isn't as good.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Now that you've seen all the details, what do you think? Is this a truly revolutionary tool that could change your child's future? Or is it just a massive, brilliantly marketed publicity stunt? The answer might just shape how America saves for a generation to come. Let me know what you think.